Hey, what's happening, family? Welcome to another great episode of the Arrington Gavin Show, your go to spot for sharp insights, bold opinions, and unfiltered takes on the biggest stories of the day, whether it's politics, sports, pop culture, or the latest buzz. As always, we're diving deep and keeping it real. So do me a favor, kick back, stay informed, and get ready to join the conversation. Family, I hope you all are doing awesome today. On today's program, we're going to be talking about uh college QB Nico. Let me see if I can pronounce the last name correctly because I was practicing his last name before the show. Nico L- Lamaleava, I believe that's pronounced. He made headlines when he rejected. I would say, well, he refused to come to practice. He was a quarterback for the University of Tennessee, and in addition to like the new NILs in college sports, it's turning it into another league of its own. And what I mean by that is universities almost have their form of like cap space, specifically college football. They have a cap space, they have a window. You can pay your athletes their fair share depending on what they bring to the table. So like this QB, he wanted close to $5 million in NIL. University of Tennessee said, think again, buddy. So you know what he did? He said he basically did his own strike. He said, I'm going to refuse to come to practice. And you know what the coach at University of Tennessee said? He said, bye bye, bye bye. He said, you know what? Then just sit out this season. So now, what did the QB do in professional sports? They demand a free agency. They demand, hey, look, put me on the market so that any school or in professional sports, any organization can reach out to me and sign me for the money that I believe I'm wealthfully deserve. So he did that, and it's looking pretty iffy. Not a lot of folks have been reaching out to him, but there is one school that is looking really close to signing him. So we'll talk a little bit about that later on the show. Also, actor Terrence Howard back in the news. He is launching a new podcast. He said he's going to be exposing all of the Hollywood dirt in his new podcast. So we're going to talk about that. In addition, I want to talk a little more in regards to the old school versus new school saga that I was speaking on the last episode, where legendary Democratic strategist James Carville had an issue with the new DNC Vice Chair David Hogg, I believe that's his last name. Hogg recently had announced that he was investing, well, not his own money personally, but along with the DNC and a group that he's working with, that he's starting within the Democratic National Committee. They want to invest $20 million in new candidates that can compete against the current Democratic leaderships, the establishment, right? Hogg is 25 years old, fresh blood. He's like, look, in order to have some new leadership, we really have to find the right candidates that we believe that can be that person. James Carville didn't appreciate that. So, as I mentioned, there's some back and forth going on between them. And also, if we have some time, Amazon recently just canceled after one season one of its new comedies that starred Laverne Cox, one of the most popular, very vocal uh, transgender actresses, uh, as well as comedian George Wallace. The name of the sitcom was called Clean Slate, and we'll talk a little bit about that later on in the program. So you have the full plate. We have a full plate happening within this hour. But again, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to tune into the Arrington Gavin Show. Want to shout out our fam out in the Metro Atlanta area. Listen to us right now on WDJY 99.1 FM Straight Talk. You can tune into the Arrington Gavin Show Monday through Fridays at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, shout out to our fam over in the New Orleans area. Listen to us right now on WBOK 1230 AM. 12:30 a.m. You can tune into the Arington Gavin Show Monday through Fridays at 8 p.m. Central Time. Also, my friends who are tuning in, watching us right now on YouTube, Rumble, as well as listening. I can't get the word out. Listening to us, wherever you're listening to your podcast at. We drop new episodes Monday through Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also, shout out to GOATverse TV for bringing this program to your network. I want to shout them out. Please be sure to download the app, available in the App Store, Google Play Store, Roku, as well as Amazon Fire. So I want to thank those ways you can tune into the show. And guess what? We are on social media, so having a 1 hour show, it makes it tough to really discuss so much stuff we want to discuss on the program. So we tend to stretch it out to our social media platforms. Do me a favor, follow the Arington Gavin Show on Instagram, Blue Sky, X, as well as Substack. All right. Again, Instagram, Blue Sky, X, formerly known as Twitter, and Substack. Those are some of the few platforms that we happen to share regular content on and keep you up to speed on stuff that happens at a specific time, like at the heat of the moment. So yes, that is where you can tune into us. Let's get it going with our fun fact of the day. On today's fun fact, did you all know that fencing is the only Olympic sport where competitors are connected to a scoring machine? All right. Their swords are electronically wired to detect hits instantly. So whenever they hit somebody, they know, oh, that's a point, that's a point, that's a point. Pretty unique. I feel as though they should, and I wonder if they do, but I wonder if, like, can boxing have that in their gloves without adding any added pad or any discomfort to the players? Because it's like, how do you I'm curious, how does judges keep score with the amount of tags fighters do? Because they're going so fast. You got to have, same with UFC, right? It can it's I'm curious. I'm curious. But that is our fun fact of the day. Want to appreciate you all for sticking with us. We love to get the juices warmed up as always. And before I move forward, let me go ahead too and shout out some of our proud supporters, like our good friends at Priority Ford. That's right. As you know, I am a Priority Ford car user, and without them, let me go ahead and find my without them, I tell you right now, when it comes to car service, they are always sharp and on the money when it comes to, again, I mentioned great customer service. Want to thank Mr. James Church, and his amazing staff for always looking out for us and my needs when it comes to great car service. I'm new to the Ford family, and I guarantee you, if you want to have a great car, great mileage, great service, as well as just a respected brand, I highly recommend Priority Ford. Do me a favor, visit for more information about them. Go ahead and visit them at priorityford.com. Okay, priorityford.com for more information. Again, American made and just built for the wild. Great vehicle. Priority Ford. We want to thank them for being a proud supporter of the Arington Gavin Show. All right, my friends, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Do not go anywhere. We have a lot more show for you here on the Arington Gavin Show.
What's up, y'all? Welcome
And we still in traffic.
Don't look familiar, do I? Not in this seat.
Hey, what's that you listening to?
Here to host today.
Hey, turn it up.
With me?
Yeah, that's that new GOATverse app. I got you.
So y'all want to know where the goats are? They're off on the sidelines.
Looking for fresh, relevant content wherever you go?
What was the name of that he said?
Introducing GOATverse TV.
GOATverse, that's what it's called.
The free streaming app that brings you the best podcasts, current events, and thought-provoking opinions all in one place. Download it now from the Apple Store or Play Store. In GOATs, we trust.
All right, my friends, welcome back to the show. I'm your guy, Arington Gavin. Look, let's get it going with our first headline of the day. This caught my attention to bring a great conversation to you all. Teachers being warned about their attire, about their dress code, right? Some teachers have been accused of being a distraction to their students with the way they, you know, I won't even say specifically the style, but just the way it looks on them. So we've seen this in not just in the school system, but we've seen this in other other companies. I remember years back there was a girl who or a lady, excuse me, that worked at a retail store, and her boss was did not appreciate, saying you're dressing way too scandalous. But the fact of the matter is, hey, she wore khakis, she wore a collared shirt, had it tucked in. She just happened to have certain curves that would say is quite distracting from the male's perspective, on the male's eye, if that makes sense. So let me play this soundbite for you. This is a gentleman out of, I want to say, the Texas area. Let me play you this quick soundbite, and then we'll talk about it on the other side. Give me 1 second as I pull this up for you all.
People on social media are accusing a middle school teacher of being too preoccupied about her looks instead of her students. This video of her has gone viral. In it, she says she is, quote, that one teacher in school with main character energy. Some have also criticized her choice to wear a dress that loves on those hips like that. The teacher reportedly said she's competing with female students while inadvertently distracting male students. Are these fair critiques, or is it not her fault that she's simply stacked like that? Gift from God. Joining us to talk.
So the gentleman that said that, he's like, just simply a gift from God. He knew what he was trying to do. But really, this is a great conversation because you either get caught up by being too judgmental and not realizing the fact that people with a certain body type, there is you just it's hard to cover up for, your I would say your shape without literally putting a paper bag over your body. That can go for men and women, right? Say say somebody is very jacked and swole, and it's like, okay, you see the way they are shaped through their clothes, and it's like, okay, you're being too much of a distraction. Well, I mean, this is just the shape. There's certain, when it comes to fashion, when it comes to what makes you, for one, feel comfortable in your own clothes, but also what is professional. So, like for me, I'm weird shaped because I'm short, but I'm stocky. So there's certain times where it's like, okay, I'm big up top, tiny at the bottom, and it just goes like that. But now, say for example, if you have someone that is very curvy. When I mean by curves, I mean has hips, has a curve, a great a quite voluptuous shape. What clothes do you put on this person? Now, this individual, the teacher was explaining, hey, I have a cardigan sweater on with a long dress. I can't, if I get a larger size, it's gonna drag on the floor. This is literally the size that's fit for me. So it's not about being a distraction. Sometimes I feel as though teachers in general, and not just teachers, uh, the folks that accuse those of, oh my gosh, look at them being a distraction. I think that's almost like they are very jealous, and instead of them saying that, they try to bash their attire. Because I remember when I was in high school, there was we had a high school principal, and then we had a middle school principal. The middle school principal will always go after at a classmate of mine that I guess the middle school principal was not a fan of. Now in my mind, I'm like, okay, so why isn't that you continue to go after this girl the way she's, the clothes she's wearing. Because look, the girl was in amazing shape. I think she was like a gymnast or something, and her clothes were appropriate. She followed the code as far as collar shirt, slacks, this, that, and the other. But the principal was saying, "Oh my gosh, look how tight those clothes are. It's just so tight, Emmett." And she will always, always, always get in trouble. And I'm just like, what's the deal? I mean, I went to a private school, so we had strict rules. No facial hair for guys that can grow their hair long, can't be below the ears. Girls couldn't wear open toe shoes. Um, a skirt to a certain length. Like, we were very strict. But there's certain levels where it's like, okay, what message are you trying to prove? Like, what is the whole mission here? I understand dress professional, but if we meet the criteria on dressing professional, and you're still saying, oh, you're still, that's it. Like, I feel as though it's unfair for those to get criticized that simply just, hey, look, the way my body's shaped out, I can't help it. Now, my question to you all is, what is the solution? How can they prevent this from continuing on? Because this is an ongoing story that occurs, that I think that relives each and every time. And it's just, we always follow back with saying, okay, what do we do? What do we do here? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen here? Um it's interesting. That's all I can say. It's interesting, but I think it's a bit difficult for 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 the teachers, because especially if they're teaching middle school or high school, where hey, those guys look, they going through them hormones, being like, oh my goodness, do you see such and such? Oh my gosh, shoot, they start failing their grades, they start getting distracted. Let me digress from this story, y'all. Moving on into the sports realm, as I was talking earlier about college football quarterback Nico Lamaleava, and the story that has been circulating around the sports world and the digital space is that, where does this man land, and did he make the right choice? So my wife and I, we had this conversation. So my wife was a former collegiate athlete. My brother-in-law played college, played professional, and let's just say on my wife's side comes from a big sports family, right? And I played sports in high school, did not play in college. Now, I was very close friends and I was affiliated a lot with the college athletes, but I never physically played. That being said, I am a pro advocate for collegiate athletes in the whole NIL, name, image, and likeness. I am a huge proponent of that, because I do believe college athletes are well deserved on getting paid. Why? Because they are the ones that help bring the most money to their universities, right? They risk their time, their bodies, their mental and physical health to bring money to your university. So I'm all for the NILs. Now, I think what we've come to realize is a lot of the legendary coaches, like a Nick Saban, Coach K, out of Duke, um, Urban Meyer, so many well-known collegiate coaches, they retire not because they're like, okay, I've did what I can do, it's time to move on. Some of them have shared their frustrations with NILs, and I'm not speaking for them, I'm just sharing my opinion on why they dislike it. Is the fact of the matter is, it's like, when so many folks have always, spoken, saying, wow, I wonder, why did Nick Saban not try and just pursue uh the pros and stay there, which he did. He coached in the pros, I believe, before. I want to say it was it the Dolphins he might have coached. I know he did coach in the pros at one point, but they prefer college the most. One reason I will say is because it's more money as a college, as a head football coach in college, but also you're coaching kids to to help them build to the next level. Right now, college sports, in my opinion, is already a professional league. You can say it's semi-pro, but it's just as professional as the professional, the NFL. But coaches have more authority over their players because they're like, look, I'm helping guide you to the next level. You won't make it there without the status here in this level. But here's the thing. Also, collegiate players was not getting they weren't worth any. They were worth something, but they weren't getting paid. They weren't getting paid. See, in the NFL, once you get that money in their hand, they seem like they're on top of the world. They seem like, they can do whatever they want. You need me. You already got my money. I'll do whatever the hell I want to do. That's kind of like the realm that they play. But in college sports, it wasn't the case until NIL came into play. Now you see guys making and ladies making over $1 million easy per season, per year. They're millionaires before they even enter into the professional leagues. This gentleman, Nico Lamaleava, was basically saying, "Hey, look, I know my worth. I've made y'all this. I made y'all that. Y'all want to give me 2 million? Well, bump that. I want 4 or I want 5." He wanted more money, and a lot of folks are saying, "I think you getting a little too carried away there, buddy. 2 million is a lot of money. You stretching up to get more money. Just chill. I mean, no, you're doing too much." He sat out, did not show up to practice. Coach sits him out. Now he's not playing. Now that drops his prospect meter that can help benefit him towards the NFL. So now you see guys transferring left and right. Transferring is just another way of saying, "Hey, look, I'm entering into the free agency. I'm a free agent now. Who wants to sign me?" It's a business now. It's a business now. The reason why I brought my wife and I, we were kind of on opposing ends. Like, she was always on the side of he did the right thing and not just get your money, but he did the right thing, and yes, he's in well deserved. I was on the end of saying, well, I think there is certain moments where you are a little you get a little carried away, you get a little cocky, and that hurts you. That hurts you because in this case, it wasn't like he had 20 schools rushing to his feet to say, "Oh, thank God he's finished with Tennessee. We want to say we was." There hasn't been. Now there to my resources right now, there's only one school that is really, really, really pushing hard on getting him, and that is UCLA. Now, we will see how that goes. But they're looking like there's many sources saying that he's getting very close to signing with them, which would be great because you don't want to see a talent like this guy have to take a big bite of humble pie and be like, wow, I effed up this time, huh? No. So again, in your case, did Nico Lamaleava do the right thing on, I will say, took a gamble by sitting out or by avoiding going to practice by demanding University of Tennessee to give him more money through NIL? Was that the smart choice? And is it the smart choice to do as a collegiate player? Set aside from if you're in the pros, but is that a smart strategy to do as a collegiate player, or are they getting a little carried away? And is that also an example of why a lot of coaches and just folks really don't care for the whole NILs? Like, they saw a certain benefit from it, but now they're like saying, okay, they're getting a little carried away with the millions and millions. I've talking with guys. It was a gentleman, some random guy at a bar my wife and I like to go to, and he was saying the fact that, hey, look, if this guy already gets a scholarships, full ride scholarships are like worth 350,000 a year, right? And so, well, I won't say not say a year, but well, in total, like $350,000, because you got some universities that's like 40 a year, 37 a year, and vice versa. So he's saying, well, the fact they're getting full ride scholarships, why do they need to get paid? Why do they need that money? But once again, these could be the same people that are from working class households, blue collar. What's the principle, y'all? What's the principle? The principle is the average collegiate athlete is not even in class. Why? Because they're traveling, being an employee of the university, representing them, making them look good, bringing them millions of dollars, bringing them national attention. And you're saying, well, they getting paid those academics. That's just, to me, that was more like a cover up to say, well, look, we're doing this for them, and we got them a free meal plan. But still, those universities are making money off of their jerseys. They're making money off of their name, and they're making money off of their image. So at the end of the day, it's about the principle and it's about being fair. I am hoping, and like I said, Nico has a strong chance of course, signing with the squad. He's getting closer with UCLA. Would he try something like this again? I don't think so. But again, I want to again, the question I give you all, the listeners, the viewers out there, is it a smart choice for collegiate athletes to take gambles like this, right? To bet on to gamble themselves and ask for a lot more money than what they're given to the universities. Please let me know what you think. Leave us a comment if you happen to be watching this on YouTube or Rumble or on a variety of streaming platforms that we are on. We are going to take another commercial break. Do not go anywhere, my friends. You are tuning into the Arington Gavin Show. We'll be right back after these short breaks.
Giselle learned. Giselle Learning Institute, LLC, is a hybrid learning center that strives to educate adults and children.
Oh, having some technical difficulties. Sorry about that, y'all.
Giselle Learning Institute, LLC, is a hybrid learning center that strives to educate adults and children in all fields. During the day, we offer programs that are focused on developing students from pre-K to 12th grade, which includes tutoring, homeschool co-op, an after-school program, SAT, ACT prep, and many more engaging academic programs. Our adult education programs include workforce trainings, GED prep, life coaching, various seminars, and many more. Our vision is to train and educate in a positive way that will lead to a positive change in the world, one person at a time. For more information, visit us online at GiselleLearningInstitute.com or call us at 757-208-7407.
Become a man of distinction with Rugged Evolution Beard Care. Order our scented beard oils and beard balms to help you maintain and grow the perfect beard. Order today. Try our men's care products like the full body exfoliating cleansing bars, body wash, smooth stash, and more. Log on to our website or download our app to place your orders. Rugged Evolution Beard Care. We're your luxury but affordable men's care line. And remember,
rugged is the new smooth.
Welcome back to the Arington Gavin Show. I'm your guy, Arington Gavin. Next up on our slate, New York Attorney General Letitia James accused of fraud. Yes, accused of fraud. Let me go ahead and show you, pull up the graphic for you all to put a face to it for those who are unaware of who Miss Letitia James is. I think she's the also popular Attorney General who has been the person to try and stick it to our current sitting president, Donald Trump. She literally, when she was elected, she had said, hey, look, my initial mission is to basically take down Donald Trump. She's been pursuing that ever since. She's been a very vocal critic of him, and she's been that person to say, "Hey, look, I'm here to take him down." Now, looks like this, the tables have turned on her now. This is reported by WTKR, CBS affiliate WTKR, out of my home state of Virginia, Hampton Roads, Virginia, to be specific. It says here that New York Attorney General Letitia James accused of mortgage fraud related to a Norfolk home. Okay, says here that New York Attorney General Miss Letitia James has been referred for a federal criminal prosecution for alleged mortgage fraud in connection to claims she falsified her resident status at a home in Norfolk. The director of the Federal Housing Finance Agency, William Pul- Pulte, excuse me, accused James of falsifying bank documents and property records to acquire government-backed assistance and loans in more favorable loan terms, according to a letter written to U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi, which was obtained by CBS New York. Um, Says here at the time of 2023, Norfolk, Virginia property purchased a mortgage. Miss James was the sitting attorney general of New York and is required by law to have her primary residency in the state of New York, even though her mortgage application lists her intent to have the Norfolk, Virginia property as her primary residence. In response to the allegation, the spokesperson for the New York AG had told CBS New York that the Attorney General James is focused every single day on protecting New Yorkers, especially as this administration weaponizes the federal government against the rule of law and the Constitution. Now, she will not be intimidated by bullies, no matter who they are. Now, as a spokesperson, well, I'll just say, as a person on the outside looking in, what kind of response did that share in your opinion? Was that a, hey, I'm innocent, this is all just falsifying news? This is like, I mean, no. The person said, hey, well, Miss James is busy taking care of New Yorkers right now, and she will not be bullied by these. I will still say, hey, you're innocent until proven guilty, but these are some strong accusations, and it's stuff that needs to be shared. At the end of the day, it's nothing wrong having multiple residencies, but at the end of the day, if you're an elected official, you do have to be a resident of that area that you are that you are official in. And so this could raise some eyebrows. This could raise some eyebrows for folks. But at the end of the day, and I don't know Miss James at all, but her being a strong critic of the president, this is added ammo for him because look, once he got elected, best believe he was coming after everybody that tried to take him down. That's why you see folks, you see news networks that are struggling. MSNBC, CNN. Why? Because they were some of the two biggest critics of the presidency. Not only the network, but specific names. Joy Reid, from MSNBC, show got canceled. She was killing it in the ratings for MSNBC. Now there has been also a side saying that she was hurting with the ratings, but they end up doing a last minute lookup and they were saying, well, she was actually doing quite well compared to the majority of the shows on there. So it was still very suspect the fact that she got canceled, I believe, after the 7 years that she had that program. Um, who else? Who else? Uh, Don Lemon. I mean, Don Lemon was fired from CNN, but I think it was more than just him being a critic of Trump. Oh, Jim Acosta, that's the gentleman. Jim Acosta, Brian Stelter, who ended up returning back to CNN. Mehdi Hassan, he was let go of MSNBC, which he now started his own network. I mean, there's so many people that have either been let go or that are returning to they're trying to mellow down their criticism, if that makes sense. So I say all that to say, yes, the president was coming after those who were critics of him. Now it says here that she has filed a lawsuit against President Donald Trump in 2022, as I mentioned, where she argued Trump and his family artificially inflated their net worth as a means to get better loan rates. A judge found Trump and the Trump Organization liable and ordered them to pay $354 million in fines. So, by a court of law, your president, I'm saying for the because I don't just have, you know, non-Trumpers here that tune in. I know I have some listeners and viewers that are probably Trump supporters, and I thank you for continue to tune in because y'all hear me give your boy a lot of crap. But at the end of the day, he is a sitting president. He's won. He's in office. Hey, he's there, but still doesn't. I can still say whatever the hell I want. All right. But by a court of law, he was found liable. Now there hasn't been anything by a court of law found liable for attorney Letitia James. The night's still young. We don't know yet, but we will continue on and follow up more about this story because this is some strong allegations. It's more soundbite clips and ammunition for the conservative right-wing media networks who are already critics of her, just to continue to it's more content for them, is what I'm saying. It's more content for them. But we will continue to follow up and see more about that. Let's see how I'm looking with time. Let me continue on this with what I was talking about the last time in the whole new school versus or excuse me, old school versus new school trend. And let me here, let's see. Let me first play you this soundbite from James Carville, the Raging Cajun James Carville, on what he had to say about David Hogg, the newly elected vice chair for the Democratic National Committee, who had made headlines when he announced that he was going to be investing in the opponents for of the Democratic primaries, the challengers, and not the current incumbents. So this is let's see. This is James Carville, veteran Democratic strategist. What he had to say in regards to this.
I don't think these people get it. I don't think they ever will get it. And I've said this before, and I'll say it now. I think we ought to think about just having a skiff. Socialist Union, Urban Justice Community Unity Party of the whatever. Right. And then after the election, maybe we can have negotiations. That it might be at a point where there are certain elements in a Democratic coalition that we just can't live in the same room with these people because they actually learned nothing from 2024. They learned nothing from history, and they are hell-bent going this direction. And maybe what we need to do is say, you go.
So what it sounds like James Carville is implying is that the kind of Democrats that he's basically saying you do need to split up the Democratic Party and say like the progressives, y'all just need to have your own party. You're not a part of the Democratic movement. You just need to have your own party, and that will be best. He's saying that the vice chair should not be affiliated with any form of the Democratic Party, and yeah, start your own thing. Now, to me, James Carville, who I agree with most of the time, I kind of disagree with him on this because at the end of the day, in order for growth, you need to have new faces, new leadership. He's saying you didn't learn anything from 2024. Now, in 2024, it was poor judgment on from the party majority and not really keeping Joe Biden accountable because Joe Biden, they saw him deteriorating. They didn't say anything. They realized that, hey, look, you really should not have been the guy that we should have been backing. You said you were a one-term person. we're sticking with that, and we're going to move on and find some newer candidates. They didn't do that. They stuck with the old man that can barely know his right and left, and they relied on his VP, who really did not have a great background that could be enough to say, hey, look, this is why I'm the best candidate. Now, don't get me wrong, she was highly qualified to compete because she's served on every single level, but on paper, there wasn't a lot of good that can gather the majority of voters to back her up. And she had 100 days. 100 days. There were so many others that were saying, "Hey, look, this is why I should run. This is what I have to bring to the table." This is me. They did not give anybody a chance. So again, strategy is what really sucked. They had the right messaging. No, I'm sorry. They had the message, but they just didn't. They need to work on the messaging, because if folks are talking about the economy, damn it, talk about the economy. Don't talk about transgender issues as your number one priority. Don't talk about women's reproductive rights as your number one issues. I'm sorry. It's an important thing to talk about. I get it, but it's not the winning thing to talk about. If the majority, if you see multiple polls, people say economy this, economy that, then lean towards that. That's something that can bring. And on top of that, you had mostly conservatives lead you on the campaign trail. Look, as cool as it is to see Liz Cheney endorse you, she don't need to be the main voice, because people will still remember. I know exactly who Liz Cheney is, and she didn't do this and do that, so that hurt a lot of folks. Leadership. The majority of the Democratic Party has leadership that's been there for way too long. And you need new blood, and you need young blood. You need fresh new voices who are willing to fight. James Carville, see, the same people that you are defending is the same folks that were showing the little bingo paddles during the State of the Union. What David Hogg is saying is that, no, we're going to get some more that can just don't even show up to it. We're going to get more that will be like a Jasmine Crockett. You know, she can get a little carried away sometime, but guess what? It's a working strategy. It's a working strategy. Let me go ahead and play this clip of the Vice Chair David Hogg speaking with the reporter. This was, I believe, on Script News, and I think he had responded to the comments that was from James Carville. Let me see if I can pull that sound for you.
The well-known Democratic strategist James Carville said in response to this announcement of this plan that you have to primary Democrats, he said that the DNC should sue you and called you, quote, a contemptible little twerp. What is your reaction to that?
Try it. That is my reaction. I would also say James Carville has not won an election since before I was born. I think it's time to have new leaders in our party that are ready to meet this moment, because a lot of the people that are most critical of this plan are the same ones that had $2 billion to win an election and still lost. So I think the experts can save it, because it's time for some new ideas.
I want to ask you, though, do you risk helping Republicans more than your fellow Democrats with this kind of effort? I mean, just to give you an example of some of the discourse that has been percolating, especially online since you made this announcement, a top Trump campaign official in 2020, Tim Murdaugh, tweeted earlier today that you're the best thing that's ever happened to the Republican Party. Do you think that your efforts may end up being counterproductive to the Democrats?
No, and I think part of the reason why people think that is because they aren't reading beyond the headlines. What we're doing here in no way, shape, or form is what we're doing potentially risking the House of Representatives or having a majority there, because we're only focused on Democrats that are in safe Democratic seats, where essentially no matter what happens, it's almost certainly going to be a Democrat that is elected there, because it's such a blue seat. What I am concerned about is if we continue the current status quo that we're on, because I hear all the time across DC, things are not going great. We need dramatic change. We need better messaging. Here's the deal, though. We can have the best script in the world, but if you have terrible actors, it doesn't matter how good that script is. And a lot of people, clearly by the polling, know they feel like the Democratic Party is not meeting this moment. And the only way we're going to change that is by electing leaders who are there to fight for them, that are on the front lines a lot of the time of so many of these issues. So, for example, right now in Congress, if we had the same number of 25 to 30-year-olds elected in Congress that there are proportionally in the general population, we'd have over 40 members of Congress under the age of 30. Right now, we have one. That is a huge problem for the future of our party, because we know people like Lyndon Baines Johnson, people like FDR, people like even Joe Biden were all under 30 when they were first elected. And I believe a major reason why they became as effective as they did as presidents was because they were so young when they started. And it turns out when you start young, you know how to get things done. But unfortunately, right now, it is so much harder for our young people to get elected. And we need to make sure that we are giving them the space to get elected here. And our older members aren't just sticking around forever until they end up passing away in office, frankly, because that's not good for our party either. But we need to make sure that we win a majority for Democrats. And that is a major emphasis of what we're focused on here. And that's what we're here to do.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something right there. That sounds like somebody that is trying to win, rather than old man Withers that's over here bickering, saying, what does he know about this? What does he know about that? Look, did you hear David throw some shade saying, look, the last time bruh man won an election was, I wasn't even born. I'm 25 now. I wasn't even born. That was 25 plus years ago. See, the thing is James Carville is extremely intelligent. He won some big elections. But at the end of the day, look, he needs to sit on the side on this one and really understand what this guy is saying. Okay, he said it's not the messaging. We got bad actors that's reading the scripts that we have provided. Okay? If he gave you the stats. If you have majority groups of this certain age, of this certain young age, I think he said under 30 or of 30, he said you would have 40 plus people within Congress from the Democratic Party. He says we have one. We have one. And the majority of folks that is from the Democratic Party, and really this is on both sides, guess what? They die while they're still in office. They die with the Democratic Party, as of they had 2 folks in Congress that had passed that I'm aware of. They were both ill. Don't get me wrong, they were both ill, but still, some of them should not have been elected because they were battling illnesses during campaign season. I mean, shoot, I'm surprised Fetterman had won that US seat, and he's not an old guy, but he recently had he had a stroke while he was on the campaign trail. Bernie Sanders, when he was running for president, he had a heart attack. He's still in office. Biden has something. Biden fell multiple times. Okay. He had his moments. Nancy Pelosi had, there's so many folks who are just, you can't sit up there for power forever. You have to provide and be some form of of a segue, some form of a bridge to say, okay, look, I've done my terms here. It's time to bring you on. I can help, get you all ready and this and the other. But now, one thing I will say, there's a former congresswoman out of California, Barbara Lee. Now, I won't have too much time to really talk about this, but recently she was just elected to be Oakland's next mayor. Now, she has been in Congress for years. Let me see when she was first elected. Do I have that information? I do not. Well, she's one of California's longest serving congresswomen, people of Congress. And yes, she said, look, well, let me go ahead. Let me go on a smaller scale. And I'm moving from taking care of a full multiple cities and parts of the state to let me go to my local city. Now, it's still a huge task, but it's more respectable. I would say seeing those to come down and maybe work on a somewhat of a local level, because they still have a drive to want to serve elected office. And she already has the great relationships, because she has relationships on a high level. So that might be another way of saying, maybe I will, instead of fully retiring or leaving out of Congress, let me just go on a local level. It could. Um, Last story I want to share with you. How am I looking at time? Uh, this was a now I have not had the chance to actually. Do I have it? Okay, I don't have the actual. I did not have a chance to watch this show yet. I will very soon. This show called Clean Slate. All right, Clean Slate. It was an Amazon comedy show that starred comedic legend. I consider him a legend. He's a very, very famous comedian, George Wallace, and actress Laverne Cox. We all know remember her from Orange is the New Black. She became a huge star from that program. Uh their show had got canceled. This new show called Clean Slate had got canceled after one season. Apparently this was Norman Lear's final completed show. This was a show that was created by Norman Lear. Norman Lear is the man who created The Jeffersons, Good Times, All in the Family. I mean, truly an iconic, a legend when it came to TV sitcoms that broke barriers, especially color barriers back in those eras. Like, I mean, he did it. He did it all. He did it all. Amazon says here, Amazon Prime Video has canceled Clean Slate, which was which was television's legend Norman Lear's final completed project after one season. Now, the series stars Laverne Cox and George Wallace, as well as their fellow co-creator Dan Enwin. Recently broke the news in a guest column for Deadline. Clean Slate premiered on Prime Video on February 6th. By the end of March, it says it was canceled. Wow. Let's see. Cox, Wallace, and Edwin called the series a labor of love and a 7-year effort that was gone in a poof of server exhaustion. Excuse me, server exhaust. Perhaps a little bit of a shot there on how Amazon conducts its business. Woo. It was Cox and Wallace who brought the show to Lear. Lear, the sitcom dynamo for decades and decades, had died in December of 2023 at the age of 101. Lear was the comedy genius behind, as I mentioned, All in the Family. Oh, I'm sorry, Maude. There was another one I forgot. Good Times, Jeffersons, and Mary Hartman. Mary Hartman. The Hollywood Reporter reached out to Amazon Prime Video with the request for comment of the cancellation news. They did not immediately hear back from them, obviously. The reviews called Clean Slate a warm, well-meaning, and non especially fun comedy. Wallace played Harry Slate, the owner of Slate Family Car Wash in Mobile, Alabama. Now, after 23 years of estrangement, Harry is excited to welcome back the child he thought was his sad, insecure son. Daniel Fenberg wrote in his review, instead, he greets confident, generally happy Desiree, who's played by Laverne Cox, who has left behind a career in New York City art world. Now, the reunion doesn't actually go down the sort of classic sitcom-y way one might expect. Harry is taken aback for maybe 30 seconds, accidentally misgenders his daughter one or twice, but then he's fairly accepting, with the joke twist being that he's much more outraged to learn that Desiree is vegetarian. once again, the show had a positive meaning, a positive message for it. A man who has an estranged relationship with his son, last speaks with his son years and years, over 20 years, and then his son comes back, a woman. A great positive message, but a lot of folks are, speculation saying that, okay, Amazon with the, Bezos and the relationship that he has now with this new administration and their whole rollbacks on diversity, equity, inclusion, could maybe play a part. Not even just that, this show, to the Republican conservative eye standpoint, is looked upon as woke, and they're getting rid of woke. So I go back and forth with this. But I am curious. I will check it out, because when George Wallace is like I said, he's a legend. He's a funny dude. I was curious when I heard about this, and I'm like, okay, bet, because George Wallace is what you call Mr. Las Vegas. He's had a Vegas comedy set for years, and so I'm curious to check this out and to see to see what this show was all about. But after hearing the message, I was like, oh, this is a good positive message, something that can help, because I'm all about changing the narrative. I'm all about what can we do to help build us to be better people, and I do believe that shows like this can help build and just make us better. The more you know, the more you grow, folks. The more you know, the more you grow. Look, my friends, I have other stories that I want to share with you, but because the time is running very short, we will not have time to do that. I'll have to share with you on the next show. But again, I thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to tune into the Arington Gavin Show. Be sure to tune in Monday through Fridays. We're available on all digital and streaming platforms. Again, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. For all you Rumble subscribers out there, we're on Rumble as well at the Arington Gavin Show. Download the GoatVerse TV app today. Available on the App Store, Google Play Store, Roku, as well as Amazon Fire. Be sure to listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on all social media platforms: Instagram, Blue Sky, Facebook, Twitter, and Substack. And continue to tune in by listening to us through our radio affiliates: WBOK 1230 AM New Orleans, Monday through Fridays at 8 p.m. Central Time, and also WDJY 99.1 FM out of the Metro Atlanta area at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Fridays. Y'all, peace and blessings. I'll see you next time for some more great conversation. I'm out.